don't know if I was on my personal account that second time or what, but nothing was working. Nothing was showing me anything. So I was super confused there. I'm going to try and get this all hooked up so that it can show me some of what I'm looking for. Um, Obviously, we're trying something new today. We've not done it like this before. Uh, we're doing just a live stream just from my phone, and we're going to do it at my house. We're going to try and do this a couple of times a month. And the main purpose of it, honestly, is just to connect with you guys, have some fun, have some conversations. And it looks like it's actually working this time. So I'm going to flip this around. This is where we ran into some trouble last time. So hopefully we do a little bit better. I'm going to do an audio check. So unfortunately, you're going to get doubled up on audio here for a couple of seconds while I make sure I can. Yep. So, all good, all done. I will monitor myself in this. And we're making some crappie that I caught in my pond. And we're going to use a couple of things. We're going to use the chicken on the run. This is my favorite breading. I love it, obviously, for chicken, but it's just as good on fish. We've used it for pheasant. We've used it for bull testicles, all sorts of weird stuff. But the big thing is this is RFK Jr. approved. I have some beef tallow we have there from a cow that we had processed by Crables. They're a local processor here in Kansas. And we purified a lot or all of the beef fat that we got. We made tallow. Some of it we ultra purified, and that stuff Allie, my boss, has turned into skincare stuff. The rest of it we're going to use for cooking. And we've got a lot of it. So I've got some already melted, already basically hot enough to do all my frying in. And here are the pieces of crappie that I'm going to be doing. Okay, so this is what's known as the Better Breader Batter Bowl. So I'm going to put my chicken on the run in the bottom of that. I'm also going to add some smoky honey habanero. Is it smoky honey habanero from Spiceology? That's going to give it just a little bit extra kick. And then we've got some Terrapin Ridge sweet heat to dip it in. We've got some Kinder's spicy teriyaki, which I love. And we've got a small thing of Chick-fil-A sauce. That is a punishment for my girlfriend because she was lippy before this. So I told her I was eating her Chick-fil-A sauce, which she loves. Obviously, I've got some Dos Equis, and it looks like we're up and running, so I'm going to get going. Okay. With the Better Breader Batter Bowl, it's a little bit easier to do than just normal breading. We don't necessarily have to worry about having a dry hand and a wet hand. We are just going to put everything in here. And this is about, I would say, in a little bit over a quarter of a container left of this. So I'm going to add just under all of it. I still want to be able to taste the chicken on the run breading, but I want a little bit of extra pop to it. So we've got that. We're going to set that aside for a moment. You can smell that habanero that is up in my nose already. For anyone who watches a bunch of these, you might notice there's something a little bit wrong with my eyes. I've had some eye infections over the last couple of weeks, but we're getting past it. I got pretty sick there for a while, but I'm okay now. So we're going to make an egg wash. I've got 2 eggs in here. I've got a half a cup of milk. I'm going to mix that in. And then we're going to whisk this all together. We're going to dump our crappie in there right before we put it into our Better Breader Batter Bowl. It's just going to allow for a more even coverage of the whole thing. Want to get this nice and coated. And then once it goes into the beef tallow, it is only going to be a couple of minutes before that's completely ready. Crappie is one of the most eaten fresh fish. For those of you who don't know, they're a school fish, smaller than like a largemouth bass, bigger than a bluegill, smaller than a largemouth bass. But they eat up really well. I would say number one for me at least would not be trout for freshwater fish. It wouldn't be trout, but it would be close between the two of these and what's second best to walleye. Walleye is my favorite, and I think it's most people's. Delicious fish, pretty easy to catch, and very abundant, especially slightly north of where we are. In Kansas, we don't have a bunch of them, but up in Minnesota, Wisconsin, you guys are, every lake is loaded with those things. We used to catch them in New York too. So the Better Breader Batter Bowl has this bottom receptacle where all of our seasoning or breading is going to sit. Then it's got this little shelf that goes in there, and it sits right on these little ledges. I don't know if you guys can quite see that, but it keeps it suspended. We're going to do everything in an egg wash, put it in there, put this lid on, and then we're going to turn it over, shake it around a bunch, flip it back over, and by that point, everything should be perfectly covered. And we will see how this goes. If the difficulties I had getting the live stream going is any indication, we're going to have a fire, the house will burn down, which wouldn't be the end of the world because I've been trying to sell this place for going on a year now. So insurance money wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But like I was saying before, jokingly, that these are RFK approved fried fish pieces. Beef tallow is what everybody used to use to deep fry things. Then somewhere back in the 90s, a gentleman sued McDonald's, claiming that it was their beef fries that caused his heart attack. McDonald's then switched to a vegetable oil, and pretty much everyone else followed suit. Now, there are other reasons too. It wasn't just that soup. There was also the fact that the vegetable oils are vegan friendly. And there are a lot of people from the country India here in the US, and those people eat fast food just like the rest of us. So they couldn't eat the beef tallow fries. They can eat the vegetable oil fries. So we'll see how much of, or how many places actually switch back to beef tallow. Because like I said, there is more to it than just the health aspect. From my own personal perspective, which normally I'm a fairly healthy person right now, not so much, but normally, we'll see how many of them actually flip back over. But I think beef tallow is a more healthy option than any type of vegetable oil. That stuff is so processed. When I made this, all I did was cut all the beef fat off of well, they provided us big chunks of beef fat, I should say. I melted it all down, I put it through a strainer, I remelted that, put it through a strainer again, and let it solidify. And that's really all it is. There is no, you'll see it talked about sometimes with beef tallow. There's no deodorizer in this. It is straight beef tallow. So, the less things we can add to whatever we're putting in our body, in general, the better nowadays. So now that I have the lid on tight, and you do want to make sure it's on tight, otherwise you can have a huge mess on your hands, we're going to just flip this over, and then we're going to shake it around for a bit. We're going to flip it back over, shake it again, so the excess falls back down into that bottom chamber. You can see a little bit more shaking here than I want, but it's not too bad. All right, so we've got a decent coverage on all this. Right, that looks fairly good, but one thing we can do to get a better, thicker batter on it is dump it back into this egg wash and give it another coating. So that's going to give us a lot more breading on the outside, and while crappie is delicious, it doesn't have a strong flavor on its own. I mean, it's obviously got a little bit of a fishy flavor, but it's not like a trout, it's not like a salmon. So we're going to double egg wash all of these. And get it back in. And somewhere around here, is my ridiculous sized dog. We'll find him and get him in a shot. And then he will get a small piece of this as well. And we'll see what Brutus thinks. All right, so again, we're gonna make sure that bowl or that lid is on tight, because this isn't the Walton's kitchen, this is my house. I don't want to clean it all up. So we got everything on there tight. We can just lift it lightly by these two tabs on the side to tell that. Flip it over, give it a good shake, turn it back over, and hopefully this comes across well. It's hard to tell on a cell phone, but it's got a really nice, little bit thicker coating on all that. So when we put this into the oil, we should get a really nice golden brown, thick coating that's gonna taste amazing. Now I'm gonna grab the camera here in a second and move it over so you guys can see the oil and watch as everything cooks. Frying fish, especially of thinner cuts of white fish like this, does not take long. It is a pretty quick process. So, we're gonna have to be Johnny on the spot with making sure everything gets out in time. That's way too high. All right, and I'm gonna do this to turn that off because I'm sure that you wouldn't be able to hear me at all. See a little bit of smoke coming up, so I want... Okay, sorry about that, guys. We are back. My internet at my house gave out, and I had to connect to my mobile hotspot on my phone. So I've already got 3 of them done. They took very, very little time. They might be a little bit overdone because I was paying more attention to my phone than the pieces of meat, but 3 or 4 minutes a piece, and we've got nice, it's flaky, it's perfect. We have a nice crisp on the outside. Oh yeah. Oh, ooh, that smoky habanero from the Spiceology seasoning comes through just a little bit. We're gonna show you what Brutus thinks of this. Brutus, here. Come here. Come here. Let the people see you. Hey, come here. Sit. Paw. Good boy. That was Brutus. Hopefully you guys got a good look at him. He is ridiculous sized. And very much enjoyed that little piece of fish he got. Thank you, buddy. Now we're all washing our hands again because like an idiot we pet our dog. Ooh. So sorry for the technical difficulties, guys, but sometimes this is what you get. So you can see how quickly it's frying. I don't have all that much oil in here. I mean, it's a good amount, but it's barely submerged. So we are just going to gently flip it. You can already see the bottom of that one was getting that nice golden brown we're looking for. And the taste on this is phenomenal. Oh, that's so good. I really don't even know if I'm going to do any of the dipping sauces. I might just eat them as they are. And that is definitely the last piece that Brutus is getting. If I had an easier setup here, I'd probably put them on a cooling rack so that they could drip a little bit, but it'll be fun. It's crappie. They're fish I caught, so it's fairly easy to do. While those finish up, I'm going to grab another beer. And like I was saying before when we first started, we're going to try and do one of these a week, usually on Thursdays. So it's just the easiest evening for me to do them. And I already have planned what I want to cook for next week. And it's something a little bit different. These things that I've been eating a lot of recently, they're called egg bites. Really easy to make, and now with the price of eggs coming back down finally, I'll kick that heat up a little bit. That didn't sizzle much when those got in there. With the price of eggs coming down finally, they're not that expensive to make. And I'll show you what they look like. And this is a recipe that I made all by myself. Nobody helped me with or showed me how to make. So it's just egg, sausage or bacon, or sausage and bacon, red peppers, onion, cream, cheese, so cream, like heavy cream, cheese, and I don't remember. There's usually one other thing that I add. But anyways, they are delicious. They're an easy on-the-go snack. Super convenient. And if you want to see Big Boy's back, he thinks he's getting more. And that is a perfectly sized dog. I will hear nothing about him being fat or overweight. He is supposed to be that size. So I know a lot of our meatgistics guys, at least, you're big fishermen, you're big hunters, you like to process whatever you catch, hunt, or harvest. And sometimes our biggest difficulty with that is the people we're trying to feed don't always have the same feelings that we have on wild game. Let me just real quick go. Oh, it's just my neighbors. So everybody doesn't always feel the same love that we feel for our wild game. They don't always love the taste of it. This is a great and fairly easy, though messy, way to get people to enjoy what we've harvested from the wild. Deep fried, everybody loves that. Smoky honey habanero is what I added to the chicken on the run, but you can add whatever you want. There's really not any limits. I've added everything from Ultimate Steak and Roast Rub and Mojo to, I don't even know if we have it anymore, but there used to be a seasoning called Bloody Mary Wing Shake. And that was so good to put into chicken on the run and do pheasant in. But in general, fried fish, that's something everybody is familiar with. I think one of the problems we run into, specifically when we're talking about larger wild game like deer, not so much elk, but deer is a big one, is people don't have a good reference for what it should taste like. So they taste it and they're like, oh, that's new, that's different, that's not what I'm used to. And then they tell themselves that they don't like it because of that. Well, if they'd had something really well done, really well made, and, oops, almost made a mistake there, and well prepared on a deer that was well cared for, they really would like it. But sometimes people are idiots. All right, let's see if I cannot be an idiot here and not shut the stream off when I put this back in. There we go. Okay. And I think, my little power block ran out of batteries. Sorry about that. I guess I'm just doing this by hand at this point. All right, let's move this around. Get that out of there. Try and square that up a little bit. Okay. All right, so we've got a couple of different sizes here, and we're gonna try the sweet heat first, then we're gonna try Kinder's spicy teriyaki. This is amazing. Where are you? This is amazing with most sausages. Kind of what got me through the andouille Cajun sausage challenge. So we're just gonna pour a small amount right into there. And because I only want to do one dish, I'm going to keep it angled until I've used it all, and then I'll move on to the next one. So this is Sweet Heat from Terrapin Ridge Farms. If you're not familiar with Terrapin Ridge Farms, they make great jams, good sauces, barbecue sauces. And they also make some things like, what are they? Salad dressings. I don't eat salad, so I don't know. That is pretty good with that. You can kind of see in here, see all those particle sizes? So it's a little bit thicker, and it almost tastes like they have some sort of cheese-like thing in there. But yeah, that is delicious. So Sweet Heat from Terrapin Ridge Farms, absolutely a yes on deep fried crappie. Though, to be fair, anything's a yes on deep fried crappie. Eat one last piece, and then we'll get this Kinder's spicy teriyaki. I'm anticipating loving this, so I'll be upset if I don't like it. And yeah, it's perfect. It almost makes it taste like tempura. I mean, it very, very similar. But yeah, that is incredible. Only problem I have with Kinder's, it's not cheap. That is a fairly expensive sauce unless you can find it on a sale. I think this one, well, I guess it's not that bad now, like nowadays, but I think it was $8.99. But that is delicious. Yeah, Kinder's a little bit better than the Sweet Heat. All right, and finally, the Chick-fil-A sauce. Eating this mostly as a punishment to somebody. Try that. I mean, it's Chick-fil-A sauce. It's delicious. It's good on literally everything. Sometimes I dunk celery into it. Oh. Yeah, that's good. It doesn't really fit though, right? Like Chick-fil-A sauce and deep fried fish, not the perfect combo. So, yep, I did it again. Sorry about that. So we're going Kinder's, then Sweet Heat, and finally, I would say last was the Chick-fil-A sauce. Good, but not great. Anyways, so next week, probably around the same time, we will do the same thing. And this time we'll actually send some stuff out, letting everybody know. Might not be on YouTube, it might be on Instagram. We might do it just on Meatgistics. That's the pond that those crappie were pulled out of. Believe it or not, I've pulled 2 6-pound plus bass out of there. What's up, buddy? Want to say hi? Yeah. Oh, you smell that fish? Oh, yeah. You're a hungry boy. He's a hungry boy. But so next week we'll go over making those egg bites, which are an awesome just grab and go snack, especially in the morning. I also eat them a lot for lunch. So teach you guys how to make those, and you can put your favorite sausage, your favorite bacon. You can even put jerky in it if you want. All right, guys. Thanks. Sorry about the technical difficulties at the beginning. Hopefully next time we won't have that. I'll have Allie and whoever else make sure that I know what to do and don't mess it up again. See you guys.